Welcome to InfluenceHER, produced by Baker Public Relations. I'm your host, Megan Baker. Our communities feature some of the most extraordinary and strong women. These women are pioneers and visionaries who overcame obstacles, didn't wallow in defeat, but instead chose to rise. InfluenceHER provides a platform to empower and influence others. On today's episode, we are honored to welcome Teddy Foster, Director of Universal Preservation Hall in Saratoga Springs. Born Dorothy and lovingly nicknamed Teddy in college, she grew up in Fishkill, New York, where early family challenges shaped her into a resilient, driven leader. From a corporate career to her passion for community and the arts, Teddy has transformed personal hardship into a life of purpose, now leading UPH as a cultural beacon for connection, creativity, and impact. We are so proud to share your journey today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
Let's start at the beginning. Let's talk a little bit about what your childhood was like, since it's shaped so much of who you are today. And how do you think that those early experiences are, what made you that determined woman that you are today and a leader?
Well, so I grew up in Fishkill, New York, and I had a sister who was about 7 years younger than I was. And life was on the surface pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. We came from a fairly prominent family in Fishkill. And as was the custom way back then, was the dad would go to work and they would come home, and then cocktail hour would begin. Folks would have a cocktail before they had dinner. Only at my house, cocktail hour never ended. So it became an environment that, honestly, when I was a little girl, I thought every family was like that. But it was, we never got dinner until late. Our parents weren't functioning very well on a daily basis. So somebody had to look after my sister. So I became her caretaker, making sure she had her supper, making sure she got to bath and dinner and stuff like that. And I think that's when I first started to be responsible, and that's a driving force in my life. I felt responsible for a lot of things all my life, and that's why I address them.
Yeah, and that's a lot to be put on a child.
It's a lot.
It's a heck of a lot.
I was really lucky. I had an aunt who I'm named after. That was Aunt Dorothy, and she was a really big guiding force in my life. She was a big volunteer in the community and would take me with her. So that kind of
opened your eyes a bit.
Right. And she also took me theater. And so I think it was probably the universe was saying this is a natural progression for this young girl. So,
Teddy, were there any moments growing up that maybe positioned you, or you first noticed that you could lead? Any defining moments?
Maybe. In high school, I was pretty popular and wanted to get involved in high school politics and be, one of the leaders of the school. And it was interesting. I decided to run for, I think, vice president of the high school. So I made up this ballot, and it said a flyer that said something says, "Don't be a blank, put a dot on your ballot."
I like that.
And it worked, and I got voted, and then I just got involved in everything. And that was a real defining moment for me. I started to learn that people liked me, people wanted to be with me, and I had influence, I guess. I didn't realize it, but.
You've been described as a bit of an overachiever early in life. How has that mindset shaped your path and where you are today?
Yeah, I am. I will admit it. I'm a recovering overachiever. You can ask my sons, they'll tell you. But it just keeps me going. Just the way I live, I hold myself to a really high standard. I hold those around me to a really high standard. And I don't always think that that's a bad thing. I've softened a bit as I've gotten more mature. I listen better to people and why they may or may not reach my standard, and I'm willing to massage that a little bit and compromise. But I think that's been really important for me through every job I've had. That's how I go at it.
Let's talk about your prior career before the nonprofit world in the corporate world, and what that was like and what you learned from that chapter in your life and how it stuck with you in nonprofit work.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was a stay-at-home mom for 20 years. And then when I turned 40, I went back to school and finished my degree at Skidmore. So I got a degree in business, which was probably the best thing I ever did. I really feel that that education is responsible for where I am today. And then I ended up getting a job for GE Capital as an operations manager, which was fun. And then they morphed into GE Financial. And then my last job with GE was working for Genworth Financial, and that was their insurance division. So having never been in that big corporate world before, I learned a lot. And I learned you had to really believe in yourself. You couldn't guess yourself. And it was really important to have a team mindset, because in a big corporation like a GE or something, it's not always a team mindset. People are into job preservation. Well, I just like people, and I wanted us all to survive, right? So I led a team of about 6 trainers, and we did really well together, and it was good. So that taught me a lot to develop a team. We also did training called Integrity Selling and Managing Goal Achievement, and those were 2 trainings that were just spectacular for me and for my team. So that taught me how to sell, right? And it taught me how to manage my goals and reevaluate them. It was very powerful and has taken me all the way through.
Teddy, when, was there a moment in time in your corporate life where you decided, you know what, it's time for something new?
No, I did not decide that. It was decided for me. I was leading a group of 100 insurance agents, and I was their executive marketing coach. Was my last job at Genworth. And we were doing great. We were up 30%, and then the recession hit in 2009, and they laid off 1,000 people in like a split second. So no, I didn't decide it. It was decided for me. Actually, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. So, and I was sitting on the board of UPH at that time.
Okay. What was it about UPH that intrigued you about the leadership role?
It didn't. It didn't.
Was it something you...
No, it did not. It was very funny. So yeah, so I lost my job at Genworth, and there was a board meeting. And I did not go to that board meeting because I was pretty upset about losing my job at Genworth Financial. And while I wasn't at that board meeting, the board president resigned, and I got voted the new president. So this all happened. I did not want this. I mean, it was, and so there I was.
You had another calling.
Yeah, so, it's so interesting, right? So there I was with no job. I have this huge building that I'm now president of, that it looks like a bomb site, right?
Yes.
And I just said, to heck with it. So I stuck it out.
And restoring UPH has been such a big part of your life. You and I were talking about this previously and can dive into it again, but just the fact that you opened in early February only to have to close.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
Well, that was horrible, but it was commensurate with every other experience. I felt like when I became the president of UPH, we just came up against obstacle. And failure, in my mind, failure was not an option. We just kept going and trying to figure it out. You know, in 2013, we were faced with a decision whether we were going to keep this building open or shut it down. And I didn't want to shut it down, even though we probably had 50 cents in the bank, because I knew that you're never remembered for how you start something, but you're always remembered for how you leave it. And I didn't want to be remembered as a person that failed on this project. So that was a really defining moment for me. And that's when I made the infamous phone call to Philip Morris for advice.
And leading a nonprofit is never easy. Sometimes you're really limited resources. The community is a big, foundation and supporter for you. What keeps you energized and inspired?
Well, right now, I'm energized, inspired by the people that are working with me, my employees now. We only have 5 employees, but any other employees we need come up from Proctor's. I'm inspired by the volunteers that we've attracted because they are the ones that are really keeping the energy up and making this place great. I am just thrilled by the response from the community. People love this building. They're very grateful it's still there. All through COVID, it's all lit up at night. It looks beautiful. People would come up to me and thank me for keeping it lit because it gave them hope. I mean, it was really a lot. So there's not one thing there that doesn't inspire me
And UPH is a major part of Saratoga's cultural and society, like its big social scene, right? So what is your vision for its future? What does that look like?
To become more and more ingrained in the community and beloved by the community. This has been one of my dreams all along, was to get this building done, have it accepted by the people in the community, but then become part of the fabric that makes up downtown. And we are doing that. And we're open for community events, private events, but more than that, we're now working with the Chamber and Discover Saratoga and the Downtown Business Association. We do the programming for the festivals that come in. We do the programming for New Year's Eve. And that's a really important thing for me because economically speaking, we wanted to be a real boon to the long-term economic success of Saratoga. And now I see us starting to get there. It's just so gratifying, wonderful.
What has been one full circle moment for you in your life of all that you've experienced?
Oh, it's so surprising you asked me that. But so the full circle moment, I have to say, was when my grandson was born almost 2 years ago. And I took one look at that little boy and I thought, yeah, this is my reward for a life hard lived. This is it. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I still feel that way. And I look at him and I look at my kids because I always tried to set a good example for my children and for basically everybody around me. And I'm thinking, yep, I'm accomplishing this. It's okay. So especially with him.
Now, you talked about Philip Morris, but what would be your legacy?
My legacy is UPH. I think my legacy is UPH and getting that project done. The group that was there before me did yeoman's work. They did a beautiful job salvaging the building because it was condemned, slated for demolition, and keeping it standing. But I really think my legacy is providing Saratoga with a downtown cultural center in the heart of downtown, basically, that will live on, and I always like to say, stand strong and tall into the future. That's it, I think.
If you could ever go back and have a conversation with your younger self, I mean, what would that look like, and what would you prepare her for?
Oh, well, I would tell her this. Listen, this is not how I live my life, but I would tell her to believe in herself. Because if you believe in yourself, you can do almost anything. I think if you believe in yourself and you believe in what you're doing and you know you're not going to hurt anybody, move forward. I read a book once, and I can't remember the author. It was called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. That became my mantra for a while because I would just think, well, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to try this. And that's what I did, and I just continued to do that. And the passion for what you're doing and the passion you have for your ability, you can't lose. I really feel like you can't lose.
Teddy Foster, this has been great. Thank you so much
Thank you.
coming on InfluenceHER. It's director of Universal Preservation Hall. If you haven't been there, it is a must-see. The programming there is amazing.
Fabulous season coming up.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.